Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another edition of Wise Women Weekly, presented to you by Enlightened Networking. I am Monty Patterson, and I am super excited to be here again. We have just been bringing tremendous value over and over and over again, and today is no exception. As a matter of fact, today is a day that I've been excited about all week because we are bringing our first wise guy, none other than icon and industry legend Gregory Mascari and his beautiful wife, my beautiful co-host, Robin Blank Mascari. And so, Robin, how excited are you today? I'm really excited, but you get to live with him every day. We're just getting to get a taste of the joy you get to experience on a daily basis.
Thank you, Monty, and welcome everyone. We're so grateful to have you here. I've been looking forward to this too because when I got involved in this profession, I was a newbie. I didn't know what was going on. I heard it was really a good idea to find a mentor, and so we're going to get into some of that today. And it's really my pleasure to share someone who's made a huge difference in our profession and in my life in many dimensions. But we're going to talk about, what it is to be successful in this profession and really addressing the softer side, because that's what we do on Wise Women Weekly. And I want to also thank many of you for all your notes and appreciation and ideas, and we're very open and receptive. Matter of fact, our next session is going to be based on one of your suggestions, and I want to thank you, Allison, because we're going to really, Monty and I are going to talk about how we build from a relationship perspective, and we're going to do some role playing, so we'll get into that a little later. So anything else, Monty, before we get started?
The only thing I want to tell everybody is to grab a pen and a notebook, paper, whatever you have. Grab it, because you are about to get some gems, and so it's important to hurry up, do whatever you got to do. Go grab your pencil, grab your paper. Be sure to take notes, because Gregory is definitely going to be able to give you something that's going to help you grow your business so that you can create a business and a life that you love. That's why we're here, to give you guys value. So if you're ready, I am ready. I'm excited. I don't think I need to take up any more of the time, because we know that Gregory's got years of experience and lots that he can pour into us, and I'm going to be sitting here as a student as well as a privileged interviewer as well. So I'm excited. Robin, why don't you take it away?
All right. Thanks, Monty, and again, thank you all and welcome. My name is Robin Blank Mascari. We're here in Bozeman, Montana. Monty is in Columbus, Ohio, and we're here to greet you and share some wisdom and wonderful resources to support you in your personal and professional life to truly get the best of what this profession of network marketing has to offer. So today our special guest is someone who comes to us with 26 years experience, close to $1 billion in sales, has been from the trenches to the boardroom, someone who actually, started out not knowing anything and cracked the code, and has worked in the field, has worked in corporate, has advised corporate executives, has been a consultant to the profession, so comes to us with many, many, many dimensions of experience and wisdom, and more importantly, it's to me where he comes from, and we're going to get into a lot of that today. So it is my pleasure to introduce my partner, Gregory Mascari. Welcome, Gregory.
Oh, thanks, Robin. Thanks, Monty, and hello, everyone out there in cyberspace, in your homes, offices, where you may be. It's such a pleasure to be the first wise guy on Wise Women Weekly here. No pun intended.
Well, actually, it was Gregory's idea to call it Wise Women Weekly. So how about if we start out, and Gregory, have you share a little bit about your background and how you came into this profession. Then we'll get into a little bit about why we started Enlightened Networking and Wise Women Weekly, and then get back into some more details of success principles so we can actually offer some things that people can implement right away. So how about a little bit about your background?
Yeah, sure, I'd be happy to. And as the saying goes, I was born at a very young age. And I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek with some intention, because during my youth, growing up, my father was very entrepreneurial. So I grew up in an entrepreneurial family, and I watched him go from owning this business to owning that business and starting this business and starting that business. we went from powdered milk to Lincolns and boats and back again, So I guess I grew up kind of entrepreneurial, and I'm proudly, as I like to say, certifiably unemployable, because besides owning my own small businesses before finding network marketing back in 1988 when I found this industry, since then I've fallen in love with this industry or profession, really. It's more of a profession than an industry because it serves so many different industries. But I fell in love with network marketing back in 1988, and as the story goes, I lived in Southern California, and I had a small manufacturing business, and I packed up and moved my family to Montana. I sold my business for the deal that sounded too good to be true and turned out to be so. And I moved my family to Montana, a young family, 4 young children, and and I went from litigation into liquidation. Let's start a new life. As the saying goes, I sold the business for the deal that sounded too good to be true and turned out to be so. And a good friend of mine actually introduced me to this profession, and he was making more part-time while working in his full-time job than I ever made full-time in owning a small business. And I said, well, Michael, maybe I should do this with you. And he said, yeah, why don't you? And so we kind of buddied up and partnered up and started, going through the process. And, and I guess my key to success is, and it's not that, I think I'm smarter than everybody else, but I'm probably more persistent. And I think my key to success is the old adage, failing enough to win. And I guess when it gets down to that, my motivating factor is failure was not an option, because my family was in need of me providing support. And as I like to say on the motivational ladder, malnutrition is way up there, especially when it's your kids. So I was really motivated. So failure wasn't an option, and I worked diligently until I cracked the code. And it took me a couple of years, Monty, to really crack the code in this profession. My first year, I won't say I failed miserably, but let's just say I had very limited success, okay? Because I came into the business thinking I knew it all. And I came into the business because I had owned small businesses thinking, hey, this is so easy, I can do this. And I didn't slow down to understudy anybody that was in the business, tried to recreate the wheel, and my wheels didn't spin very fast or very smooth. So it wasn't a very lucrative experience. In my second, probably my first year, I did more things wrong than right, but I kept on keeping on because I had no other option. So in my second year, I started doing more things right than wrong, and I started making a decent monthly income to support my family. But it really wasn't until my third year when I actually got into a different company, and my sponsor insisted that I do 3-way calls with him. His name was Bob, and Bob says, Gregory, you get people interested, and then you bring them to me. And so, I'd send people out information packages. I'd get on the phone, and I'd mail an information package to them, then they'd look at it, get all excited, or maybe just get interested. And the next step, I put them on the phone with Bob, and I got to tell you, it was like magic. It's like no one said no. Every time I get somebody on the phone with Bob, and he taught me to prep them properly, and I was already down the path enough to do that, I get them on the phone, and it was like magic. Absolutely, they were all saying yes. And so Bob and I became kind of workout buddies together, and that really kind of launched my successful networking career in the third year. And by the end of my third year, I was making more a month than I ever made a year in small business ownership. So I fell in love with the profession, and as I say, I'm certifiably unemployable, and very proudly a career-oriented, professional network marketer. I love the profession, and to me, it's like the next logical evolution of the free enterprise system, and I love doing everything I can to bring the principles and the knowledge and the skills to people that really want to succeed.
Well, thank you, Gregory. And what I heard from that is the persistence, and there was a driving force called hungry children, which means the big why, and we
my why was big enough.
His why was definitely big enough. But what I'm also hearing is that your success in the conventional and traditional business world didn't translate until you learned the difference that this profession has different guidelines to it, correct?
In some regards, it was probably a handicap because it gave me too much confidence. And where some people come in and they're open books and they're ready to learn, they're teachable. I guess, as you like to say, whenever Robin sponsors somebody new, she goes, "Are you teachable?" And if she would have said that to me 26 years ago, I would have said no. I probably wouldn't have said no, but really I was.
Yeah. So that's another thing, that the conventional business, we're trained to be an expert. And in network marketing, it's a very different business model. We're trained that this is a team sport, and we're not supposed to share so much information. So, Monty, why don't you take it the next step with Gregory from here?
Well, the first thing I want to do before I ask another question is to comment. The one thing that stuck out to me, and I had to pause and write it down, where you were mentioning that I might not be, the smartest or, et cetera, which you are quite genius at things. And I'm not just saying that you're extremely intelligent. Mm-hmm. But one thing I love that you said was, I'm more persistent. And so many times that is the differentiating factor. I'd heard someone say that this business is a business of habits. What do you habitually do over and over again? What do you not quit? In what ways do you lower your quit level? Or my friend, she likes to say, you have to lower your IQ level. Whenever she sponsors someone, she goes, and I don't mean your intelligence, I mean you have to lower your I quit quotient. And I used to love, when she said that, because that speaks to the importance of being more persistent, and really that translates to outworking in a sense, and not giving up. So I have a question about this platform, Enlightened Networking. I fell in love with it upon discovery of it, especially after meeting you and Robin, and I've gone through there, I've listened to the archive interviews, and I've seen the caliber of people that are attracted into both of your worlds. Why did you start Enlightened Networking?
Well, I think it's for love of our profession. And Robin and I have been successful in a number of companies. And as Robin said, from the trenches to the boardroom and back, I've been on both sides of the fence. I've been a senior vice president of sales of a successful network marketing company. And I've been a grassroots, ground floor, started day one distributor, just like everybody else, where everybody else starts. But after spending somewhere on up of 20 years in the profession, and Robin over 10 years, and we came together realizing there were certain basic principles and practices that, if employed in your business and in your life, would make a qualitative and quantitative difference in your success. And we decided, because many times people kind of get pigeonholed in the company they're in, and the only people they hear from is the upline or the company. And there's such a broad base of knowledge available out there that Robin and I decided, let's start an organization, a training and development company called Enlightened Networking, where we will invite professionals to come in and share their expertise. Change agents, authors, lecturers, new thought leaders, to come in and share their gifts, their 30 minutes of wisdom. And that's what our first shows were called, 30 Minutes of Wisdom, where they could come in, and anybody from any company could come there and feel safe, because knowing they're never going to get pitched on any product or any company. They might be invited to participate in somebody's coaching program or to buy their educational CDs or something, because that's how these authors and lecturers make their living, but they would never be solicited for any business opportunity. And we attracted people from dozens and dozens of different companies that have been very loyal to our program, and dialing in and listening in every week, and so I guess it was a desire to really up-level the profession, and to really give people from within and outside of a profession access to people in network marketing, and give people in network marketing and access to these wonderful people.
That's such a good
Robin,
that's such a good point. And I love the way you said that, because people really need this safe space, where they're going to be able to learn. And the bigger point is, I've seen so many times where people want to be able to learn from people outside of their upline, but they're just not sure where to go to get that quality training. I think that is awesome. Now, I saw you pointing to Robin. Robin, what do you have to add to Why Enlighten Networking?
What did you want to ask?
Well, it was a joint venture. So, Robin's got some insight on why we started Enlighten Networking. That would be fun to hear her perspective also.
Well, thank you. One of the things, like any business, like any profession, there's a whole range of people that are involved in it. And one of my goals and intentions is to really up-level the perception of our profession, and to do it in a more conscious way, to do it in a more enlightened way, to show people that, we have an amazing business model. And I quote Gregory on a regular basis, once you fall in love with this profession, there's no known cure. Because what it affords us to have is a lifestyle where we can hang out with our 3 dogs all day and have our grandson here and have freedom and flexibility to do what we want, when we want, with who we want. And sometimes people haven't had the best experience. And so we wanted to share with people what is possible, and to share some of the greatest resources that we have come across with the public, with the people that are open and interested to continually learning. Because my love and passion of this business model is, another quote from Gregory, and I'm not sure where he got it from, but it's network marketing is a personal development program with a compensation plan. And that is my love, is personal development. So that's what we get to do, is bring together with our audiences many different resources so people can personally grow, because our business is us. And when we work, I think it was Jim Rohn that says, work twice as hard on yourself as you do in your business, because you are your business. And so as we continue to grow, and if we can provide resources for people, and not everything's going to be a fit for everybody, but we can, pick and choose what feels right. And on enlightennetworking.com, it's changing its format, but anyone's invited to go there and go to the resource page and pick and choose who you want to listen to. And there's inspiration, there's education, there's humor, there's all kinds of things there. But bottom line, there's resources to help you become more effective personally and professionally. Then I want to switch it back to Gregory, because when Monty and I got together and thought, well, let's bring a division of Enlightened Networking back, and Gregory came up with this idea. So why don't you tell us about your idea, Gregory?
Well, it was really out of the dynamic energy between Monty, you, and Robin. I saw, whoa, get out of the way. Those are 2 forces to be reckoned with. And I saw Robin lighting back up, as I've seen her in the past, when she really gets the vision for something, and that shared vision with you of reaching out to the women of the world in network marketing, the world of network marketing, and really recognizing that most of the people in network marketing are women. Stats vary between 70 and 80 some odd %, but oddly, most of the people running the companies are men. So there's kind of a disconnect there. But when you 2 got together and said, let's start doing our own hangouts, I just thought, wow, this is going to be powerful. And so I like marketing. I like coming up with catchphrases and little jingles. And I thought, these 2 wise women coming together on a weekly basis. And I went, Wise Women Weekly. And I got on GoDaddy and went, whoa, it's available. Boom, purchase.
So and we both loved it.
And that was the test.
So Gregory, I thank you.
Yeah.
And I really like it too, and I'm glad you came up with it. You mentioned the profession, that the majority of people in the field are women, and Gregory and I joined an organization several years ago. I became a founding lifetime member of an organization called the Direct Selling Women's Alliance, and that was actually created because of just what Gregory said, that most organizations are owned and operated by men, and most people in the field are women. But you know what? We have men on this program, and we had men in DSWA. So why don't you talk about that?
Well, I really look forward to the annual Direct Selling Women's Alliance conference, because one of my favorite things is being around powerful women, and the goddess factor. And so I go to these annual conferences, and it's interesting that they proudly said that 20% of their members were enlightened men. And I was not the only guy around, but I was the minority around very powerful women. And women just bring heart to the business. They bring heart to the profession. They really address it from a personal level where, us guys, it's numbers and comp plans and structure and strategy, and that's important too. There's a fine blend, there's a balance there. But, this is the people business. And women seem to have that personal connecting power much more than most men. It's like I like to say about Robin, she's never met anyone she doesn't know, because she can be with them for 3 or 4 minutes. You think, oh, they've been friends for a lifetime. And me, and guys, you get together and, you talk about fish, sports, weather, it's not like that. It's quite different. So.
I love it. Well, you know what? This is so exciting. Just hearing the experience that you both have had, and it just brings such a broad and rich amount of value here to all of us, and including the women. And I'm excited to see this softer side. And it's not about us being exclusive, like you said. And I love the fact that you're here sharing that here on Wise Women Weekly. But it is about saying, you know what, we are inclusive of everyone. However, we want to also approach the softer side of marketing, because there is a difference, like you were just sharing, Gregory, in the way that we do things. And we are very heart-centered, as women. And it's not to say that men are not, but it is to say that that's the majority of how we do things. So I love it, and I love the fact that we're bringing more value. And so on that note, if you're just in here and you're listening, go and tell some people that we are here. This is good stuff. This is really, really good stuff.
And there's more to come.
There is a lot more to come. There's a lot more to come. So if I may, I'd like to ask a question that a lot of people talk about these days in the industry. There's always talk about old school versus new school, and what works and what doesn't work, and what's old fashioned and what works now, right? So I would love for you to address what your thoughts are on this whole old school versus new school, traditional marketing versus internet marketing. I'd love to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, I'd love to, because I think it gets out of perspective. We are in the digital age, but this is the people business. And that foundational principle never changed. This is the people business. What does change is the tools we're able to use to prospect, to educate and train, but the relationships still require that interaction. And it's nice not to have to pay 35 cents a minute for cell phone bills like we used to in the old days. It's nice to have unlimited long distance. It's nice to be able to do, Google Chats and all these other, new technologies. But if you think about it, and Robin, you want to go quiet the dogs?
I will do that.
We have some dogs locked up downstairs, and they're not happy to be locked up. So one of the benefits and challenges of a home-based business, you'd be in the middle of a conference call, and the UPS guy knocks on the door. Everybody then knows that dogs, right? So,
yes.
But anyway, if you think about it, there's been an evolution of the tools that we use. I mean, I remember when the video cassette was the tool. Wow, you could take it home, put it in your VCR, and learn all about the business. And then there was the audio cassette. And how could it get any more advanced than CDs, right? And then bingo, it's the internet. It's online. It's instantaneous. It's like you no longer have to overnight mail somebody a package. You can press send and get them the information. You can give them your link over the phone. But I think people need to recognize that while these accelerated tools in the digital age allow us to maybe prospect a little bit differently, maybe communicate a little bit more effectively, it's still foundationally, this is the people business. It's relationship marketing. And as my favorite saying is, it's all about developing long-term, mutually rewarding relationships. And I know some people come in and think, oh boy, I can build the business on my computer. I never have to talk to anybody. I'll just send out emails. People will respond and join my business, and the checks will start coming. And you know what? That rarely, if ever, happens. because you can use the internet to connect, but you need to develop a relationship. And so to me, it's just an evolution of our tool set more than a shift in our business model.
That was really, really a good point. And that was really, you pretty much answered the next question I was going to lead into, which was, talk a little bit about the importance of building a relationship on and offline. Because you can build relationships online as well, but that's the key, is building the relationship. And so often we're seeing a lot of things out there to say, tired of talking to people, don't want to get rejection, just click send and just watch the check start rolling in. And then they're like, this isn't working for me. I wonder why. Because you have to build a relationship. This is the people business. Yeah. And you know what? That's the joy of it. It's the joy of getting to know someone. It's the joy of being able to develop a friendship and a relationship, even if the business doesn't work for them at this time. And I remember sharing a story in one of the previous Hangouts about a gentleman who called me. And he remembered the day, I wasn't open to his business at that time, but he called me exactly to the day 12 months later, keeping that bridge there and being a bridge builder instead of just saying, you know what, if you're not interested in my business, that's it. And so when you said long-term, mutually rewarding, was it beneficial relationships or however that
long-term, mutually rewarding relationships.
Rewarding relationships. Okay, love it, love it, love it. And that's really the key that we need to really think about. That's a huge mindset shift for a lot of people, Gregory. When you think about it, when there's a lot that talks about, money, 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 but you're talking about long-term relationship building.
Mm-hmm. And and maybe this is a good time to talk about the difference between direct sales and network marketing. Because if you think about direct sales, it's all about presentation, 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 close, get your commission and move on. Where network marketing, it's about presentation, presentation, presentation. We use all the tools to do the presentation, but when someone makes a decision, we open a relationship as opposed to close a sale. And that's the huge difference. And sometimes people get into network marketing with the direct sales mentality, and they think it's just about getting the deal. It's about getting the order. It's about getting the enrollment. And that's not the case at all. Yes, that's important parts of the puzzle, but it's really about, again, these long-term mutually rewarding relationships with our customers and with our business partners and our distributors and with the companies that we work with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Gregory, I know you talk about the future value of a customer and a distributor, which you can't have when you just close a sale. It's a one-time deal. Mm-hmm. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think that's it. And that's where the residual income and the mystical allure of network marketing is, this passive residual income, which I know to be true because I've been enjoying it for over 20 years at different levels, but continuous. And the beauty of network marketing versus direct sales is that long-term passive residual income, or as I like to say, think in terms of the future value of a customer. What if you enroll a customer and they continue to buy every month for the next 12 months, next 24 months, next 5 years? And it could happen. I have people in my organization that are still getting checks from organizations they started 10, 15, 20 years ago because people are still using the products. I still use products from companies that I helped start 15 years ago. So I'm very loyal to the products even though I'm no longer in the business. So the future value of a customer, think in terms of what you might earn over the next year or 2 years, not what you're going to make on that first sale. And it's even, it's even more abundant when you think in terms of the future value of a business partner, because a business partner goes out and they proliferate. Thank you. They proliferate, and they can duplicate, and where you might end up with tens, hundreds, or even thousands of people because you sponsored one right person.
Wow. Let's talk about prospecting versus connecting.
Sure, and this is where I think the digital age is an advantage. We can get out there and prospect on Facebook, on different social media platforms. We can you can use banner ads. You can just do basic co-op. Depends on what your product and service is. So prospecting, is out there reaching out to let people know what you have. And we are in network marketing. And part of our job is to get out there and market our goods and services, let people we know we have them. They're not going to be the path to our door. So we need to get out there and use the tools that most fit you. And that's why, you know, there's many people that have been successful in affiliate online marketing coming into network marketing because they're waking up and realizing, hey, affiliate marketing is like online one-time sale, where network marketing is opening that door to the relationship. So some of the basic prospecting techniques work, but I've also seen affiliate marketers come into network marketing and fail miserably because they didn't make the transition into connection and relationship building. And they treated people like a number, like just a sale, like just, you know, just a commodity. And as a result, there is no relationship, and it's easy in, easy out. But when you're connecting with people, and that's where Robin is so masterful at connecting with people very quickly, you know, getting to know them, what their dreams, wants, needs, and aspirations are, what their visions are, it develops a connection with you and that person, which many times transcends them and the company. Because companies, you know, will sometimes have hiccups and mistakes, and they'll misship orders or miscalculate checks. Things happen. But you know what? If you got a relationship, people will stick on the wagon with you. It's the glue.
That's so true. And I want to ask a sub question to that, if I can, Robin. I'll make it really quickly. All right. So, make it really quick. Okay. So let's talk about that a little bit more, because you talked about the relationship, and I know that I've experienced some people that say, you know what, I don't know how to connect with people. How do I do that? What is your advice to them on how to even make the connection, especially for a brand new person?
Yeah, well, you know, there's an old acronym that still works really good, and it's FORM, F-O-R-M. And everybody has some of these things in common, and the F stands for family. And you can talk here about your family. Say, Monty, and you know, how are your children? And how's the husband? You guys got any vacations planned this summer? I can connect with you via family. Or, you know, occupation. I could say, you know, Monty, gosh, I've been in alternative health for many years, just like you, and I just love using God's pharmacy for my body, and I know you do too. So I could connect on occupation, or another one, a fun one, and is recreation. You know, and you got any fun trips planned? You know, gosh, I was out water skiing the other day, had a grand time. You know, do you ski? Do you sail? Do you ice skate? You know, if I can find a point of connection with you, and I use those family, you know, occupation, recreation, and, you know, before I can deliver the message, which is the M, of F-O-R-M, because I want to find a common ground. You know, do you like dogs? Oh, I like dogs. You got kids? Oh, I got kids. You like alternative health? Oh, I like alternative health. Because the more I am like you, the more you will like me. And the way I found if you're like me is I ask you questions. And then again, it gets back to the old listening skills. Use your ears and your mouth in that proper ratio, 2 to 1. You know, listen twice as much as you speak, and you'll learn about your people. And then you'll find those areas to connect. And you know what? Sometimes you find, I don't want to connect with this person. You know, they think that alternative health is hogwash. You know, they're in love with big pharma. You know, and nutrition. You know, you get all you need from your food. And that might have been the case one day, but it ain't so anymore.
So
the last M. Let me address the M. See, okay. If I connect with you, family, occupation, recreation, that's a way I can connect with you. Then once we're connected, I can say, oh, by the way, you know, I came across a product that I think might, based on what you've said, your interest in alternative health, I came across something not long ago that I got to tell you, it's producing wonderful results for me and my family. And I don't know if you're interested in looking at, something new in health and wellness, but da-da-da-da. And that gives you an opportunity to then deliver the message once you've made a connection.
Absolutely. I love that. And one of the first things that you mentioned was Robin being so masterful at connection, which she is. And it feels like we've known each other a lot longer than a few months. Robin, what would you like to add to that, since you are Gregory's complement and vice versa?
Thank you. So often, and Gregory said it earlier, the relationship is the key. And I think for many people to realize this is a numbers game, and it doesn't take a lot of numbers to change the results in our business. So slowing down and taking the time to really find out about people. One of the things I really have people do is, develop the muscle of going out when wanting to build your network, which we should be doing all the time because our net worth is equal to our network. And so we want to continue to grow our network and to do it in a way of finding out about people. This muscle to go out there and talk to people and find out about them, who they are, what's important. Use the FORM acronym, and based on their answers gives us the next questions. And that muscle to develop is to not talk about our products, our business, our opportunity, our timing, any of it. Take the time to really connect, because like Gregory says, it's, people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And that gets built when people feel like you care about them. And so that exercise is a powerful one. And a few people can literally change the future of our success in our business. So that's really an important message that I think a lot of people need to get. And I am a student and learning about technology and learning how to reach out online, and I'm stretching every day, and I'm loving it, and using a vehicle like a Google Hangout, because people have more trust when they see a person and they see a real person. And Monty, people have been giving us wonderful feedback because they get that we're just people, and they're like us. They're just people, and we're imperfect, and we're learning as we go. And then that's the beauty of this profession. We don't need to be perfect. And I do want to make a shift, because one of the misperceptions in this business, Gregory's had tremendous success. He's added, literally hundreds and close to thousands of people on a daily basis to his business. And I learned a concept from him that I think is really valuable for a lot of people. We talk about the distinction between, a grassroots building business and a leadership building business. And what does it take to add a lot of people? And one of the things I've always been impressed with Gregory is we think really differently. I build relationships one by one, and the combination of relationships and systems and duplication is what creates the success. So can you address, Gregory, a little bit about, creating success at the grassroots level and what a difference that makes, and how it's made a difference in your success in this business?
Yeah, certainly. And maybe I'll talk briefly about the leadership model versus the grassroots model. And many times companies will start because of strong leaders and people follow leaders. But when the dust settles, if there's not a simple, duplicatable method of operation that people can pass from hand to hand without loss of content, learn easily, duplicate quickly, it's going to stall. And so I always look for and look to help companies establish simple, basic, proven plans of action that usually are 3 or 4 simple steps, proven steps to success. If people just go out and duplicate those steps, they can't help it but succeed. When they're new, their numbers won't be so good. When they get more experience, the numbers will get better. When they're new, they might talk to 10 people and sign up 3. When they're more experienced, they might talk to 10 people and sign up 6. But if they just get out there and talk to people and use the tools and duplicate the process, success is inevitable. The problem is with this profession is the low cost of entry is the low cost of exit. And so people get in easy, they get out easy. Most people treat it more like a hobby than a profession. And going back again on my experience, I had to make it work. Failure wasn't an option. Most people who join this profession are doing it part-time, and failure is an option. They were looking for some supplementary part-time income, and if they didn't have it, they were existing before anyway, and they can go back to their existence. And to me, life is not about existence, it's about thriving. And so, one of an important concept I learned years ago is a concept of qualifying before you present. It goes back to what we were talking about, connecting. inform, but qualify before you present, because you don't know if you got a customer prospect, a distributor prospect, or a no prospect. And it's important to know the difference between them. So, you're not trying to pitch a customer to join your business. You're not going, spending all the time on the product with someone that's ready to join the business. So it's important to kind of get congruent who you're talking to. And so, I kind of went off on a tangent, but I think that's important concept for people to come to grips with.
That is really, really, really good. Robin, why don't you continue on? Because you guys, Gregory, and I do. I definitely have some questions, but all the really good stuff.
Good stuff. Well, I'll tell you, back to what Gregory was just talking about, it really helped me understand, in order to be really, really successful, is to have something that anybody can do.
Mm-hmm.
And for people to get, and for a lot of us, we don't realize that the moment we start talking to someone is actually the beginning of the training. And one of my favorites is Darren Hardy. He's the editor of Success Magazine. He's got a great CD I've talked about before called Making the Shift. He said, if you're talking, you're pointing to a tool. And one of the great things that I've watched and observed and been immersed in is watching Gregory the tool maker. Because to me, a great leader is going to make tools or support their team and having tools so that the average person that has never been involved before, and we know many of you who are listening are brand new to this profession, and to realize that you can do it. So when the company or your upline leader or whoever, you have some simple tools. So I'd love Gregory to talk about some of the tools that you have found to be most effective, and the length of the tools or the size of the tools. Mm-hmm. What's really, really contributed to the level of duplication. Remember, you talked about simplicity and ease of duplication and also speed of duplication. You combine those things together, that's success in this business. So, what have been some of your favorite tools?
Well, and let me say, first of all, I think this is a business of duplication, not of innovation. And usually a good company will have the tools in place that you just need to learn how to use those tools. You don't have to go out and create your own or try and recreate the wheel like I did my first year in network marketing. When I slowed down to learn about the tools that existed and use them effectively, my success was much more fast and joyous. It was much more productive. So I think it's important to learn what's in the tool chest of your company. And there's probably a 2 or 3 minute sizzle video. There might be a 12-minute sizzle call or video. Think of it as progressive revelation. It's hard to get somebody to sit down and watch a 20-minute video, step one, but you could probably get them to watch a 3-minute video. And if that interests them, they might go to a 7-minute video, or maybe you're going to give them a CD to listen to on their way home in their car. Maybe you're going to hook them up on a 3-way call with someone. But the basic tools that I love to use is a website that shows the product and shows the business, a website with videos that shows the product and shows the business. And again, you're knowing whether to send them to the product website or to the business website, because different strokes for different folks. Not everybody's getting in for the same reason. And I found you can always default to the product, because even a business, someone seeking the business, if you start with the product, they want to know it's a good product anyway. But if you start with the business, you're going to blow out your product people. So I usually start in progression with a discussion about the product, and if the product's a fit, maybe the business is also. But if the product's not a fit, the business probably isn't either. So different companies are using different tools, and again, as we're in this digital age, there's more and more available online to us. And it's really a matter of getting congruent with your company's back office toolkit and knowing what's available online instantaneous, what's available in print, are there specific CDs or DVDs? What I always look for in a company and look to help companies create is a simple duplicatable system to create spontaneous growth at the point of sale. And let me express what that means to me. That means that I can get somebody started, and just with their raw enthusiasm and a couple tools in their hand, they can go out and get other people excited, and those people will join and get other people excited, and it just creates kind of a grassroots movement because it's just so simple, and you don't have to send people to school to learn things. You can just demonstrate, and people are off and running.
So I've watched that happen. I have watched, whether it's an executive summary or an overview sizzle call, I've watched it happen because one of the things Gregory's done is worked with a lot of young companies and helped start up network marketing companies. And I've also watched him grow existing businesses tremendously. And another piece that I've observed, and this is something I learned from Gregory a long time ago, is there's really 3 dimensions to our business model. And all 3 are important. And usually we come through the door of one of these 3. And like Gregory says, the product is one thing. So, that's how I got involved. Someone shared a product. It changed my life. I started sharing with people. And from that place, people started wanting it and buying it. And I started getting checks. And then all of a sudden, I started learning about the business. And then so there's the product door that people come in. Some people are looking for a business opportunity, like Gregory mentioned that he was looking for, with a low point of entry. And then some people are looking for a place to belong. In our high-tech world, high touch is so important. And Gregory really helped me understand the value of community in our business model. So I'd love you to talk a little bit about what you do to build community, like the regular communications and the team calls and things. What are things that you have found that have really built the community over time?
Well, yeah, and you're right. This is a very community-oriented, as we like to say, there's 3 sides to the business. There's the product, the business, and the community, or the people. And people they'll come in the product door, or they'll come in the opportunity door, but they'll stay because of the people factor. They'll ride, they'll hang on when there's bumps and turns. But, what we do typically to build community is, there's regular weekly conference calls, there's local events, there's national events, it's staying in communication, there's private Facebook groups, and there's coaching calls, mentoring calls, it's connecting and identifying your leaders, and then once an organization starts emerging, there's leadership calls where the leaders get together and discuss strategy. It's kind of the mastermind principle is alive and well in network marketing, and and it's not so much the Lone Ranger approach that wins the game. It's really more of a collaborative process, and I think that's what I really like about this profession, is collaborating with other professionals, Monty, like yourself, and Robin, and so many other folks that I've met over the years. Some of my best friends in the world are people I've met in my networking career, and we'll be friends, and our families will be friends forever. And so, it's really about, by God's grace, you may end up walking the beaches of the world together, and I've done that with many people, and that really brings you into a bonding factor. It's not just about going to the opportunity meeting together or going to the Saturday morning training together. It's about breaking bread and, having potlucks at your house and barbecues and, floats on the Yellowstone River and, Montana leadership summits. And we've done all of those things, and we'll continue to do that, maybe with some of you watching us here today.
I love that, because the team that plays together stays together.
That's right.
And so looking for ways, whether you're close in proximity or not, you can have Google Hangouts with your team and get to walk around each other's neighborhoods, your family. You get to show off your garden and your animals. So getting to know each other at a personal level. So Monty, I'd love your input on that, because you've been very successful in building community with your businesses. And would you address that a little bit, please?
Yes, absolutely. That's the fun part of this, is making it a community and really becoming a family, even though it's business, and really having that team factor. I don't think that there's anything that can replace that. That was such a strong point and such a true point, that they may come in because they love the product. They may come in because, they are interested in the business opportunity and creating a revenue stream for themselves, but they stay because of the community and culture, and that transcends any business. And that's the thing. I mean, I've been really, really blessed to have people in my life that may have been from a couple of businesses ago. Maybe something didn't work out, but we've all stayed together, and because we've bonded and we've learned about each other. And it's not just about how many people did you call and close today, but it may be sometimes, how's Aunt Sue doing today? Because we've taken that time to get to know each other and to connect, and it transcends everything. And that's how you build that long-term income, because you've built long-term, like you're saying, mutually beneficial, rewarding relationships. That's the biggest thing. But the other thing that I like to do when it comes to building community and culture is to make sure that I'm staying in a state of gratitude, making them know that I am grateful for their presence. Because, in these days, people can be anywhere. They could be watching anything. But even the people that are watching us right now, they could be watching their favorite soap opera, but they're dedicating their time, and we are honored that they're spending that time with us. And so making sure I stay in that space has always been something that's helped us to enjoy each other and to have a lot of fun in this process. So I love that. Love that, because it's all so very true. So I have a question, if that's okay. All right. So, we talk about hobby versus being a professional. And I believe that becoming a professional begins with the decision to become a professional, right? So talk a little bit about your daily routine, Gregory. I mean, like we said, you've accomplished more than most in this profession. I would love to hear about your daily routine as a professional in network marketing, and what you would say should be the brand new person's daily routine.
Yeah, and maybe I'll expand it, Monty, to talk about a daily, weekly, and monthly method of operation, because there's certain things you do every day, there's certain things you do every week, and there's certain things you do every month. And on a daily basis, it's like the proven plan of action, whether it's talking to people, using the tools, sharing the products, sharing the opportunity. It's putting new people, new exposures in motion, and following up on the other ones. One of my favorite battle cries over the years has been 2 a day, 10 in play. And if people would just every day put 2 new prospects in motion while keeping the other 10 from the last 5 days in motion, your business will grow. So there's daily proven plan of action, or simple basic steps to success. That means kind of getting, out your door sometimes, and getting on the phone, and, meeting people, and being a messenger of the products and the opportunity you're representing. So that's something that people need to do on a daily basis. On a weekly basis, I think it's really important people to get into flow with their company, whatever it might be, because there might be a Monday night corporate call, there might be a Tuesday night business call, there might be a Wednesday night product call, there might be a Saturday morning training call. Get in the groove with your upline or with your company on what their weekly method of operation is, and all companies have them. There are standardized calls, webinars, hangouts, there are things going on, and knowing which one to plug into. And certainly not everybody can plug into all of them, because people have lives and jobs and families and other things. But knowing what's available to you, and if there's every Tuesday and Thursday, there's an opportunity meeting or an evening hangout where the opportunity is going to be presented, one of your goals during your daily method of operation is getting people to the Tuesday, getting people to the Thursday, and getting people that went to Tuesday and Thursday, get them to the Saturday morning training. So that's where the weekly method of operation comes to play. And then the monthly method of operation, it kind of expands on that, because as you're approaching the end of the month, and most companies are based on monthly sales or volume schedules, it's watching and helping your people get to the next level. In the end of the month, I love looking down and seeing who's close to getting to the next level, whether it's the 5K, the 10K, the executive, the silver, whatever rank and title it might be. Some people that are new don't know, hey, gosh, Monty, you're at 4,800, 200 more points, and you'll be at the 5K. And you go, oh, really? Yeah, and boom, and it's like that little phone call. So I like to spend time at the end of the month looking through my genealogy to make sure, see who's where, who's moving ahead in the game and who's falling behind,
And I love that, Gregory, because the consistency, and you talked about that earlier, Monty, and Gregory talked about the persistence, but there's something else that I have seen and heard you say so many times that I think is one of the keys to success. And I know for a lot of us, follow-up may be a challenge. So you have a saying that you like to use is never end one exposure
without scheduling the next. That is a master key to success. Because statistically, we know it typically takes people 3, 4, 5 exposures to get to the point of making a decision. And so if I know that they're not going to make a decision on the first call, the second call, or maybe even the third call, I'm not going to end that first call without saying, when's a good time for us to get back together? I'm not going to end that second call saying, when's a good time for us to get back together, mornings or afternoon, Tuesday or Wednesday, and boom. So usually the last thing I'll do during the prospecting process is when I'm done with one connection, contact, or exposure with a person, I'm calendaring in my calendar, and hopefully they are in theirs, the next time we're going to get back together. Whether it's a couple hours from now after they look at the website, whether it's tomorrow after they watch the video, or it's next week after their product arrives and they have a chance to try it. So I think that is a master key. Never end one exposure without scheduling the next. That's a good one. Thanks, Robin.
And you've got another one.
Okay.
Is the rapid sequential exposure.
Okay. And this goes right along with never end one exposure without scheduling the next. Another concept they call rapid sequential exposure. And that means don't end this exposure and say, okay, I'll get back with you. How about sometime next month, maybe a little bit before Thanksgiving? Would that work for you? No, you want to get back with them as soon as possible, as comfortably possible. You don't want to pressure people, but you don't want to leave it dragged out for 30 days when it should be 30 minutes or 3 days. Because if people have to see the information multiple times to make a decision, I found the closer you put those exposures together, the less exposure you have to make to get them to decision point. If you drag them out, hey, I'll call you next week. Oh, okay, I'll call you next week. I'll call you next week. If you got weeks between exposures, it's going to take you months to get a decision. If you have days between exposures, you might get a decision within that first week. So rapid sequential exposure does go right along with, never end one exposure without scheduling the next.
And this is actually true with prospects and with teammates.
Certainly.
When we're working with our teams, we also want to set up that next whatever kind of appointment to see how they're doing, and also follow up and hold people accountable. You want to address that a little bit?
Yeah, sometimes I don't do this with everybody all the time, or our life would be way too full. But sometimes when you're working very closely with someone, it's really good to set up a regular scheduled weekly call and say, okay, why don't we just get together every Tuesday around 10 o'clock? Or if they're working a day job, say every Tuesday, maybe at 8:30, we just carve out 15 minutes together. And so you're staying connected with your people, so you're kind of moving them along, and that creates an opportunity for some accountability too, because during those calls, it's an accountability and mentoring call, because then I can say, well, how many new folks did you put in the process last week? How did last week go? Tell me, what's the high point? What did you do well? What can you do better? And just having these regular, and I know you know this to be true, Monty, because of your coaching business and profession, that it's that constancy and that accountability that comes with a regular scheduled call.
Absolutely. That is so very true. I mean, everything that you guys said, I've got a paper here full of notes. Because it's all so good, and I've got some things that I can definitely use, like rapid sequential exposure. I love the title. That's really, really good. As we're coming to a close, first of all, we're all so grateful that you are here as our first Wise Guy. So I just want to say thank you again. What, Gregory, is the most important advice you could give to someone who's brand new in their network marketing career? And then B to that question is, what is the most important advice you can give to someone who maybe has been in the profession but may need to get a jump start, again?
Okay, to the brand new person, I'd say one thing, and that's be here a year from now. Just fall in love with the process and just be here a year from now. just keep on keeping on. It's like, the first time a little boy or girl gets up to bat, and somebody throws a ball at them, and they swing and swing and swing and swing, and they, and they hardly ever hit. But when they finally connect and hit, it's like, wow, that was fun. And if they continue doing that, they may end up in an all-star league. And it's the same thing in our business. When I first joined this business, I was swinging, 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 and I finally get a hit, and that would keep me going. And as I got, and the more I practiced, the more times I got hits, the better I got at picking the right people. And so I just, first of all, for brand new people, just be here a year from now. Just make that commitment to yourself, to your upline, to your company. You're just going to be here a year from now. You're going to fall in love with the process. And to, a more experienced person that's maybe joining a new company, or and starting over again, because that happens in life. We're starting all over again. It's, learn the basics and practice and teach the basics. And they're not the same in every company. It's, it's like in football, it's passing, catching, blocking, tackling. But, the Rams and the Raiders have different strategies. So not everybody uses the same strategy. So find out what your company's process is, what the tools are, and then fall in love with that process and preach it, teach it, and do it. So, I guess that'd be my 2 recommendations as we're coming in for a landing here today.
Well, that was awesome. I learned so much from you today, and I know that our listening audience did as well. We can't wait to have you back again for 2.0. You have so many success tips and strategies that you could teach, having done what you've done. And, Robin mentioned, almost $1 billion in sales over your career. That's incredible, with hundreds of thousands of distributors. I would say he's definitely worth listening to. So, Gregory, thank you so much. Robin, thank you again. And thank you to everyone who's watching this either live or whether or not you're listening this to the recording. We are delighted that you have joined us here on Wise Women Weekly, and we want you to join us next week as we do a little role playing and give you guys some success tools in real time, and you can see how we do it in action. So thank you all for tuning in again, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.